What to do to make it through. There's a little verse tucked into Romans that gives us some ways that we can make it through what we're facing today. It's Romans 12:12, and it says this: "Rejoice in hope, be patient in suffering, and persevere in prayer." And we're going to look at each one of those for just a moment together. So the first one is rejoice in hope. Something happens and our hope goes up, and then something changes and our hope gets dashed in the middle of that. Well, that's because we're depending on our circumstances as our source for hope. There is always hope. I mean, just look at the story of Jesus. When he died on the cross and was buried, his followers and his family and his friends, they were feeling hopeless. And then after 3 days, they go to the grave and he's still, they think he's going to be dead and they're going to take care of his body, and they're hopeless. When they get there, he's alive. In the death and the resurrection of Jesus shows that there aren't hopeless situations in life, only people who've grown hopeless about their situations. And if the situation that you're in right now is one where you're feeling hopeless, if you have nothing else to rejoice in it that you think really matters, well, do what Paul says. Rejoice in hope, because hope turned 3 days in a grave into a vibrant life. The second one is be patient in suffering. So I have a question for you. Tell me if you would agree with this. Suffering colors our lives. Would you agree with that? When we go through suffering, life changes and it's never the same again. That's true for me. It's been true for you. I know that. Suffering colors our lives. Sometimes in life we're aware of the presence of Jesus in our suffering. Sometimes we're not. But whether we're aware of the presence of Jesus or not, He is still always there. And knowing that He's there is what will let us be able to be patient in suffering. So rejoice in hope, be patient in suffering, and there's one more thing that Paul tells us to do, and that is to persevere in prayer. In these hard times, usually there's one of two things that happen in our lives regarding prayer. We either pray harder or we give up. We say it's not changing anything, we're getting nowhere, it's no use, and so we stop praying. I think that if this time that we're in right now causes us to start praying more, that's going to be a really good thing. Because here's what can happen in our lives. Life just kind of starts rolling along, and we miss praying one day, and then we miss praying the next day, and then we miss praying for several days, and then it turns into weeks, and we realize one day we stop talking with God. We begin praying like we really need to be praying all the time. And we persevere, we're faithful, we have this lifestyle of prayer. So what can you do to make it through? Those three things that Paul told us to do. To rejoice in hope, be patient in suffering, and persevere in prayer. Let me give you some practical things quickly, how to do that. Rejoice in hope. I want you to listen to some uplifting music. Find a Christian radio station, go to Sirius XM, Spotify, YouTube, there's a lot out there. Listening to that will lift your spirits and help you rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. How can you do that? Make a list of what's important to you. Right now, sit down and do it. Spend some time looking at your list and ask yourself this question. Did all of those things happen quickly in my life? This is just a wild guess, but I would guess that most of those took time, and some of them took a long time. And if you look at those and realize those good things in your life now took a long time, that will help you be patient in your suffering and be prepared for the future. And then persevere in prayer. How can you do that? Just some quick hints. Pray before you get out of bed in the morning, and then during the day as your worries and fears and concerns hit you, would you just stop and pray about those right then, pray it out loud, and then when you go to bed at night, would you pray and just ask God to help you through the night, to help you release everything, and to let Him manage the night, because He can manage it better than you can anyway. So wherever you find yourself right now, whatever is happening in your life, just remember you're not alone, that Jesus, the Son of God, is with you and will help you make it through by doing those things and finding new grace, because Jesus is with you in the fires of this life too.